Hello guys, this is Steno for All YouTube channel. Here we provide you Hindi or English shorthand dictations at different speed. Today I am going to provide you English dictation at this. Get ready for 160 word per minute shorthand dictation. Start. In June 2019, Chinese President Xi Jinping described Russian President Vladimir Putin as my best friend and colleague. At no time since the founding of the People's Republic of China in 1949 has such a public bonhomie been seen between leaders of Russia and China. It has sparked intense discussion on whether they are moving in the direction of a formal alliance and what that could mean for the rest of the world. The triangle relationship between America, China, and Russia has for the most part shaped global politics since 1950. For the American Cold Warriors, the road to victory lay through Peking. Today, the Kremlin seems to believe that the road to revival of Russian power and prestige similarly runs through it. India is not a part of this triangle, yet they represent our three most consequential relationships. Hence, a proper appraisal of the Sino-Russian relationship will be critical to our foreign policy calculus. Even before COVID-19, the dynamics of this strategic triangle were changing. As Ambassador J. Stapleton Roy, an American expert on both Russia and China, put it, for 3 decades, the Americans had occupied the favored position in terms of its relations with the other two. China seems to have assumed that position. Second, the disintegration of the Soviet Union essentially negated the Russian threat in Chinese eyes. Both these trends will likely continue despite the recent tensions in Sino-US relations. Columns of the partnership, the three pillars on which the Sino-Russian partnership currently rests, are a peaceful boundary, expanding trade, and a shared distrust of American intentions. Western sanctions have tended to push the Russians closer to China. Falling oil prices and fears of new sanctions on Russia gas supplies Nord Stream 2 are demolishing the core of Russian exports to Europe, this compelling them to depend to an even greater degree on the Chinese. Ironically, even though it is in neither Russia's nor the European Union's interest to hasten a bipolar world, Western actions to punish Russia have served to strengthen China's position in the strategic triangle. It is no coincidence, as Russian experts Alexander Gabov and Tamur Umrao have shown, that after the Western sanctions, China-Russia trade has more than doubled to $108 billion. Russia's central bank has increased its Chinese currency's reserves from less than 1% to over 13%, and China has surpassed Germany as the principal supplier of industrial plant and technology. These economic positives appear to enhance what is seen in Washington and European capitals as a growing strategic convergence. Coordinated action in multilateral forums, increasingly sophisticated joint military exercises, and including activities with the third countries such as Iran, reinforce Western beliefs about it morphing into an alliance. Lost in this maze of concerns is one simple fact, namely that the growing power gap is threatening to further reduce Russian influence in their near broad and to confine Russia to the periphery of global power. Russia still regards itself as a world power and hopes to be at the center of a Eurasian arrangement that stretches from the Pacific to the Atlantic. It considers US led hegemony as the primary threat to this vision, and this leads them on to make common cause with China. That does not automatically translate into a formal alliance, nor does it make their concerns about China disappear. China's rise, Russia's unease, the three pillars on which the relationship stands are not as sturdy as they may seem. Take, for example, the fact of their peaceful border. Mr. Xi's talk of rejuvenation of the Chinese nation has raised fears about Chinese revanchism. In an essay published by former Vice Foreign Minister Fu Ying in 2016, who is seen as an authoritative voice of influence in China, she frankly acknowledges that China's rise has produced discomfort among some Russians. Fu Ying notes that some Chinese continue to nurse historical grievances despite the formal resolution of the border issue and still make critical references to the nearly 6 lakh square miles of Chinese territory that Tsarist Russia allegedly annexed in the late 19th century. Add to this the Russian concerns over Chinese migration in the Russian Far East, and it would not be improper to surmise that policymakers in Moscow must be concerned about the possibility of China becoming a threat Russia's territorial integrity. Advantage China in trade. As for the economic pillar, while Russia presently enjoys a nominal trade surplus going beyond gross trade to value added trade, China has a clear advantage going forward. Most of its exports to Russia are now at a higher technology level, while the share of labor intensive goods has declined at the other end of the spectrum. Russian exports have continued to focus on raw materials, especially oil and gas. Despite Chinese promises, the investment relationship remains subdued except where it has suited China's core energy interests, such as the $400 billion. Dictation has completed. I hope you will like this dictation.